hadn't seen them probably at least since the pandemic. So 2 years plus another 3 or 4. I hadn't seen them in a while.
I haven't seen them in at least 10 plus years.
Really?
Like, honestly, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was probably the last time in theater was probably the last time I saw an Indiana Jones movie.
All of them?
Maybe
any of them?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. So this was like Okay, so this was more of a revisit. This was also more of a revisiting for you then.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. I mean, it's been a couple years. It hadn't been that long, but there were things that like I noticed that I didn't remember before, right? Like how much slapstick there is in the second movie.
Yeah.
Like an inordinate amount of slapstick. Like
somehow Willie is both the worst character, but also like she's also sort of an audience surrogate in the sense of she's over the top, but also a little realistic. If like someone who's just never experienced that is just thrown into this like insane situation.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I know everybody who hates Temple of Doom. And I'm not saying everyone points at this, but a lot of people who don't like Temple of Doom always point at Kate Capshaw's Willie.
Mrs. Spielberg?
Yeah, Mrs. Spielberg. They point at her as like the reason that movie is bad. And like, I think it's like, for me, it's like Sharon Stone in Casino. I don't like Sharon Stone.
was good in Casino.
But I don't like Sharon Stone in Casino because that's how good of a job she's doing. That's the intent.
Yeah,
I don't like her
to be like insufferable.
Right, she's supposed to be an insufferable shrew and just a gold digger. Yeah, and like I don't like her in that movie, as in I don't like her character, not her performance. Like you said, I would contend in this movie, you're not in many ways, at least early on, you're not supposed to like her character.
Yeah, I don't think it's the acting that's like
she's playing the role to perfection.
Yeah, in The Shining, I can't remember the name of the actress.
Shelley Duvall.
Her acting is legitimately horrible. Like, not only is she annoying, she's just like not well acted. This is a different like scenario where you could criticize the script.
You don't like
but
Shelley Duvall in The Shining? You're gonna draw some flack for that shit, bro.
I'm gonna say is like
real hot take.
But by the
Stephen
end of that movie,
Smithing over here, Jesus Christ!
I'm just saying. By the end of the movie, I was like, I kind of get why he wants to kill his family. Like, between the wife and the annoying kid, like, okay.
Well, I think there may be a problem here to begin with. You sympathizing with Jack Torrance to begin with is the real problem. I really didn't understand what the problem was with that guy trying to murder his family with an axe. Like, if you couldn't get a moment of peace, wouldn't you do the same? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck, bro? I sympathize with Freddy Krueger. I understand. Like, I want to be able to do what I want and not be bothered by the townspeople. Like, Jesus.
And I know we're not supposed to focus on the old movies, but I will say Short Round, fucking awesome. I forgot how awesome. I remember him being kind of annoying. I found
Short Round a little annoying this time around.
I loved him.
Like, he's funny to a point, but then there's some stuff where it's like, hold on to your potatoes. I'm like, oh, God.
But he's actually quite instrumental. Like, he saves them multiple times.
Dr. Jones, I love you. Oh, my God. What cheeseball shit. You know, that, like, it's so cheeseball in that movie. Like, they drink the black blood of Kali Ma, and then all it takes is burning them. And there's all these torches everywhere, and nobody was like, oh, it's just this fire must be what it is. Or my favorite thing about Temple of Doom is the random inclusion of voodoo.
Oh, yeah. By the little kid who's possessed, who's dubbed by a woman because the kid doesn't speak English.
Don't you mean the Maharaja?
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. His dubbing is.
I didn't actually realize it. That Wikipedia.
I didn't realize it either until I watched it this time, and it's it's obvious now. What about Dan Aykroyd?
Who is he in Temple of Doom?
He's when they drive to the airport at the beginning of the movie.
Apparently George Lucas
there.
is in
I'm
that
Art
scene
Weber.
Too.
Like, that's Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. Apparently George Lucas is in that scene too.
Great.
Yeah.
Like he was in what the fuck wasn't he in Revenge of the Sith?
He is.
The Senate scene.
Yeah.
What?
Question,
okay. You know what though? Speaking of character, go ahead.
Oh, so what happened a short round between Temple of Doom and Raiders? Are we to assume he?
I don't know what happened to Short Round. I have no fuzz. Here's a question. Like, it's weird because Raiders is the first movie. Then you have Temple of Doom, which is a sequel, but also the prequel.
They could have made it a sequel, but they decided for whatever reason they wanted to make it a prequel, which I'm sure there is a reason.
Right, and then they have Last Crusade, which is the sequel. So there's technically only 2 sequels to Indiana Jones, soon to be 3. And Temple of Doom is the prequel. And then if you know anything about, and I don't know if this is still technically the case, but Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, the video game, is the story of how Indiana Jones finds Nurhachi's ashes. That game, that's like, it was on the PlayStation 2, but it ends with him being like, essentially like, it ends with him being like, I'm calling that guy at the beginning of Temple of Doom to let him know, like, hey, I want to set up the meeting with Lao She. But like, that entire video game, unbeknownst to you, is the story of how he gets Nurhachi, which is kind of cool. And then there's plenty of other Indiana Jones stuff. There's like 50 hours of television Indiana Jones.
There's so many things that are referenced.
Well, no,
like
I'm talking about
the young, and that adventure.
Yeah, the young Indiana Jones stuff. And they don't really ever mention it. They mention it in Crystal Skull, which I thought was smart. But obviously in the movies, they never mention it because that show would end up coming on, I think,
after Last Crusade.
After everything, yeah.
Yeah, in the 90s, I think.
Yeah, well, and it was like 92, 93, I think.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Raiders is good. I think, actually, for me, leaving 4 out of it for right now, just the first 3, I'll go in order. Like, I think I liked Temple of Doom more than I liked Raiders, or about the same. Like, Willie was probably the worst part of Temple of Doom, but I think I enjoyed it overall more than Raiders, and Last Crusade, I think, is the best one.
You think Last Crusade is your favorite?
It was my favorite when I was younger, and I watched it again, and I was like, yeah, I think this one still has it.
What's weird, like, so for me, like, Raiders was always the one that everybody always says is like a perfect movie, right? So saying Raiders is your favorite is kind of like saying, like, I love this perfect movie. And like, yeah, I get it. Like, I would say of the 3, Raiders is perfect, right? It's
really?
Perfect. I think so. I think it's as good of a combination of the things that this series does well. I think it does it the best in that movie. But I think the other movies I think the other movies do things differently and or better than Raiders does. I think Raiders, if you look at a pie chart, it's 3 even pieces of action, kind of suspense and character stuff, and comedy. I think it's the perfect. And then the other ones kind of lean in different directions. But if you're talking about like the pure Indiana Jones experience, the one that I would point someone to, the one that if you said I'm only taking one, it would still be Raiders. Is it my favorite? No. That's the thing. I don't know if Temple of Doom is still my favorite because rewatching Last Crusade, it resonated with me a little bit more. And I think I know why, which is okay, but I didn't think that was going to be the case. Let me put it that way.
I read this thing online afterwards, and it was actually interesting. It's like if you remove Indiana Jones from every movie except Temple of Doom, the bad guys would fail without him. Yeah.
Well, that's
he's
in Raiders,
inconsequential to his own.
Right. In Raiders, he does nothing. Like, the only thing that would have been different is the Ark would never have been in the hands of the United States government.
Yeah. In Last Crusade, they wouldn't have ever been able to get to the Grail without him and his dad. Right. Because they would have just died.
He only fights the villain hand to hand in Temple of Doom, and it's like in a minor way when they're fighting on the bridge after it's been cut.
Yeah, and that's one where he's actually consequent. Like without him, he's not able to save the village, to save the people and all that stuff.
Well, and also in Temple of Doom, you kind of see what Indiana Jones's character is as a character when he has the moment where he has the stones and he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna leave. And then you see him look down into that hole and he sees all the little kids and he's like, yeah, okay, fine. Okay. Which is kind of like, I don't remember that scene. I don't remember them making a point of that scene either. But
and then Kingdom of Crystal Skull, we can talk about that. He's slightly more consequential, but I guess
in Temple of Doom is where he does, I think, the most as a character to influence the plot. But in Last Crusade, in Last Crusade it relies on him more to get the story going. In Temple of Doom, the story was already kind of rolling without him.
Yeah, and I guess like a thing you could say is in the Last Crusade, like he has to inject himself because his father was actually instrumental to the villains finding it. So like So it's like you at least have a reason for him to be there.
Right.
And they kind of use something similar in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where like his reason to be there is through like Marion and his friend and whatever.
So,
but yeah.
Okay.
So I guess should we get into? Should we just? I mean, we can talk about all of them all day, but we should get into Kingdom of Crystal Skull. Which I'm not gonna lie, watching the first three helped me ease some of the things I disliked about it, because I was like, actually, it's not that far out of the realm of like what these movies are about. Like I think I had romanticized them a bit more in my head, and then when you watch them all in a row, you're like, it's not that. I didn't find like it was as far out as I remembered.
Well, okay, so a couple things. This is the Kulturecast. I'll finally introduce the show because we're finally talking about the movie we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
But Yashar is joining me once again, and we are talking about, I guess, just Indiana Jones writ large. Because I think, like you mentioned, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, if you watch it as the fourth movie, if you watch them 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it does not change your expectations, but it should give you a better idea of what your expectations should be. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the fourth Indiana Jones movie, the much maligned, I think, and rightfully so in a lot of ways, the much maligned Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Legend says that a crystal skull was stolen from a mythical lost city in the Amazon. Whoever returns the skull to the city temple will be given control over its power.
You will help us find it.
Put your hands down, will you? You're embarrassing us.
Grab on. Go get something else. Grab the snake!
Damn, I thought that was closer.
Get on!
Come on, genius.
Go! What's he gonna do now?
I don't think he plans that far ahead.
I think I'd cover my ears if I were you.
You're a teacher?
Part-time.
So it was directed by one Steven Spielberg. It was released in 2008, the year we graduated high school. I remember seeing this film. It was
went to the midnight showing.
Yeah, it was like the week we graduated high school.
Back when midnight showings were a thing.
And then I went and saw it later that same day. So I saw it twice.
You hated it as much the second time?
I don't remember. Let me put it this way. This is probably the second or third time I've seen it. Well, since I watched it the first time, this is either the second or third time I have watched it since. It is not. And again, like we mentioned at the top of this, like I don't watch Indiana Jones with a lot of frequency anyways, not because I don't like them. I love the Indiana Jones movies. They were a big part of my childhood, but there's a lot of other things that I would rather rewatch. And I know where Indiana Jones is going, too. I mean, there's nothing... It's not that there's nothing new, but, like, I know the broad strokes, as do you. So, so Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the fourth Indiana Jones movie, third sequel, technically. And it does star, once again, Indiana Jones, himself, Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, Cate Blanchett, Ray Winstone, John Hurt, for whatever reason, Jim Broadbent, and yes, I think the most polarizing of all the people, Shia LaBeouf, who Yashar is making hand gestures about. He forgets that this is an audio medium.
Release the Mutt Cut.
I think the Mutt Cut does exist. You've seen it. This is the Mutt Cut. This is the Mutt Cut. There is nothing else to release as far as I'm concerned. He's in this entire movie.
Look, I'm going to go straight into... I'm just going to hit on Mutt first. Honestly, there's only one horrible thing with Mutt, and that's the monkey swinging scene.
No,
and that has nothing to do with Shia LaBeouf.
You know what the problem with his character is?
His character's...
No, they didn't... For whatever reason, the child of Indiana Jones... It lacks the charisma that Indiana Jones as a character has. And then for whatever reason, Indiana Jones in this movie is written uncharismatically as well. I don't honestly, walking away from this movie, the thing that made me angriest the most was how bad Indiana Jones as a character was. Like, he acts completely against type. He doesn't even act like his father did. His father was at least kind of cheeky and lovable. Indiana Jones at this point is just like, you know what he's doing? He's playing Harrison. Harrison Ford is playing himself.
Ford is playing. Yeah, he's just kind of crotchety and like.
He's playing the person we assume Harrison Ford is in real life.
Ford is, yeah. Although he's at this point, 20 years older or whatever, so it's not that unrealistic to say, he's changed, he's more hardened, and like, yeah,
he's not more hardened though. He's just fucking obnoxious. Like Indiana Jones is kind of like. So there's this scene where they're like, oh, it's quicksand. He's like, but no, it's not actually quicksand. It's like, this is not Indiana Jones. Whatever character you think this is, it's not him.
I actually thought
come on. It's just not. It's weird. There are glimmers of it, but it's weird. I just don't understand. The character of Indiana Jones through the first 3 movies is he's broadly defined, but at the same time, he's very narrowly defined in a lot of ways. Tell me something you think of when you think of Indiana Jones. Just one word. Just one word. Just off the top of your head.
Cocky.
Yeah, right? Like cocky, self-sure, charismatic, able to hold a conversation but also lie. Like a lot of these things. And then in this movie, he's 20 years older, but his personality didn't need to change that much.
Yeah.
Maybe you should think about where you zoom next time, you fucking dingus. That's your problem, not mine. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just focused. I'm focusing on you, you fucking moron. That's on you, just like with your fucking headphones last time. That's on you. Yeah. I can't control what you're doing. Look what's behind me. Nothing is behind me.
Is this making the Mutt Cut?
Yeah. Honestly, Shia LaBeouf is like one of the least. He's one of my least problematic things with this movie.
No,
I think people remember this movie a lot more poorly because of him than he really.
Yeah, I'm like he wasn't like super annoying. Like he's a guy who's never done this before. He's fine. He gets a couple cool action sequences. He generally drives the plot forward. He's not overbearing. Like you often think of the character. Oh, he was just like really annoying and nagging. Like he's actually like fine. Like pretty entertaining to watch. The one scene that everyone associates is the monkey swinging scene, which obviously it's not like they wrote that into the script. The monkey swinging scene
was bad, period. Regardless of who was in it. If it had been Indiana Jones, it would have been bad.
But I think people just associate that like when they think like, oh, and then I watched it, I was like, yeah, but that was like a script thing. And then I truly was watching. I was like, was he really? I was like, no, I never found him grating at all. He was generally an entertaining sidekick. Like
I find his character to be an asshole and not a pleasure to be around. He's very standoffish and I don't get it. I get where they were going with the character, but at some point they needed to tone it down. And I don't know. His characterization is fine. He comes off as kind of a little obnoxious at times, but he's not the problem.
It makes sense.
He's not the problem with this movie. I think the problem with this movie, and overall the problem with this movie is, I think aliens were just a bad idea to begin with.
I didn't hate the aliens thing as much the second time as I remember when I originally watched it. I think the villain stuff was just not particularly.
Oh, you're talking about Cate Blanchett?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, amazing actress.
Oh, yeah. We just talked about her 2 weeks ago,
Yeah. We
didn't talk about her specifically, but we talked about her and her Australian ilk.
Well,
yeah. What about Ray? Fucking Ray Winstone's in this goddamn movie, right?
John Hurt. Yeah, I think the plot of the aliens influencing Aztecs or
essentially ancient aliens, right?
Was fine, and like I said, watching the first few movies again, I was like, oh, actually, this isn't that far removed from the kinds of plots they had. It was just more of the villain stuff. I mean, the Nazi stuff was never super, super compelling. The villains, really, other than in Temple of Doom, are kind of whatever.
In Temple of, so that was the thing. I mean, in Indiana Jones 1, it's Nazis. In Indiana Jones 3, it's Nazis. In Indiana Jones 4, it's the commies. In Indiana Jones 2, it's the Tuggies. I guarantee goddamn... That's how they call them in the movie. They call them Tuggies. I don't know why.
Yeah.
In Indiana Jones 5, I guarantee you, he's more than likely not fighting the Nazis because it's set after this movie, and this movie's set in 1957.
Is he going to be fighting Alex Jones's ilk or what?
No, it's the 60s, I think. Yeah. There is no way, shape, or form there isn't a flashback with him fighting Nazis.
Oh, for sure.
Right, like, gotta get that nostalgia. Shoot that shit into my veins, man. Like, yeah, because we already know there's a flashback scene because we've seen the photos of the guy riding the motorcycle with the silicone Harrison Ford head on, which is horrifying. But it's, I don't have an issue with him fighting the communists because they're essentially just Nazi stand-ins. But...
And a cool callback to the first Raiders in the opening scene, which I don't think I put together until I rewatched them. I was like, oh shit, that's the ending of Raiders where they house the Ark.
Right. Oh, really?
You didn't notice that?
No. I know. Like, that was for me, that's the best part of this entire movie. Is that opening scene. The opening scene was actually quite good. And I remember disliking the nuking of the fridge thing. But once again, after rewatching the old ones, I was like, they did launch out of a plane in a boat that then went over, like... I don't know. So for whatever reason, once you add the nuke into it, it becomes a little more unbelievable. Right. But yeah, to be fair, in the second movie, they do jump out of an airplane in a life raft. So... and they survive. And then but again, like, when you add a nuke into it... So, if you don't know what this movie is about, Indiana Jones is tasked with, like we've kind of already mentioned, taking a crystal skull. Honest to God, I understand what's going on this time, but the first time I watched it, it didn't make any sense. So, John Hurt, as Oxley, or the Ox, as they keep calling him for whatever reason, found out about the crystal skull, went to Akator, got the skull, went and tried to do something with it, brought it back. What is the fucking going... Like, so he got it from Oriana's corpse, took it to Akator, which looks like, by the way, getting to Akator looks impossible, so I don't even understand how he got there the first time. And then he left Akator and put the skull back, and then got kidnapped because he went crazy.
Yeah, the only thing I can think, and also it's like, wasn't that hard to figure out what they're supposed to do once they got to Akator? It's like, did he spend like 10 minutes there? And it's like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, because they essentially say, like, you got this far and you couldn't figure it out.
But the only thing I can, like, kind of fill in the lines is that they say the skull can, basically fuck with you mentally, is that basically it took control of him and fucked him up so much that he just, at that moment in time, sort of lost his sanity and just returned it. And that's kind of like I can
but to
sort
your
of
point,
justify
though, when
that.
they got to Akator, it's like, it didn't take much for them to realize, like, all I got to do is hit these heads and the sand comes out. It's a very, for as non-convoluted as the other movies are, this one kind of makes up for it. Like, I don't know why. Because there's like there's a Roswell thing, there's an ancient aliens thing, and then there's the John Hurt thing, and then there's how Mutt and Marion come in, and then there's the Spalco stuff, and it's like, you can't really tie any of these together. They try their hardest, but they're not successful.
I think the best part, probably the Mutt and Marion stuff, was one of the stronger things in the movie. Like, I thought Marion brought a really good energy back to it, and she's definitely, like, in Raiders, the best female, like, companion, like, female counterpart in all of the movies. Schneider in The Last Crusade was good. She's different, like a villain.
She's good in Raiders, aside from that one really creepy line.
Which one?
I was in love. I was a child. You knew it was wrong.
I interpret that like...
Interpret it however the hell
18 or 19.
Interpret it however the hell... Dude, she's supposed to be like 18 or 19 in the movie, I'm pretty sure.
She didn't look 18 or 19 in the movie. She looked like 32.
32.
No, like, I don't know, 20.
Dude, I will tell you, I will say, I think of all of his female companions, I think obviously Karen Allen stands out, right? Right?
Yeah, she's...
Totally.
And she had a good energy in this one, too. So, like, her and Mutt stuff worked fine.
She's not bad. Yeah, honest to God, like, they just don't give her anything to do. Like, she just is... she's there because reasons. Like,
she's there...
Why did they capture her?
I guess she's there to... it was kind of implied that her... Okay, so...
Right,
the John Hurt of it all is very confusing. So John Hurt is kind of like a surrogate father to Mutt, whom he was introduced through his mom, Marion, because he and Indy were friends that we've never seen on screen. And
kind of a retcon.
So, yeah. Which, I mean, it's fine.
Kind of like what they did with Ray Winstone. Just like in Berlin, right, Indy?
Yeah. Although to be fair, like, every movie he's had, he had the Asian guy at the beginning, Temple of Doom. He had Short Round, and then he had Sala in 1 and in 3 he's been established, but in 1 he just kind of shows up.
Yeah,
so
boy, Ray
this,
Winstone's a great replacement for Sala. Oh, great.
Yeah,
real great. Ray Winstone. You want to talk about the worst character in this movie? It's him, without a question. It doesn't even make any sense. He's just like constantly vacillating.
He's like constantly vacillating.
How many times does he change alliance in the movie?
Over 9,000.
One time at the beginning, then
he is working for the Russians. He's just he just basically wants money.
He says he's working for the CIA. No. At one point he's with Indiana Jones, so he and Indy are working together. And then he says he's working for the CIA, or no, he's working for the Russians.
The Russians.
And then later in the movie, he says, like in Berlin, so he's working for the CIA then. CIA. And then he's dropping those little things, so he betrays them again. So he betrays them twice. He betrays Indy 2 times.
Yeah. And then at the end, he's kind of like, but he's still like, it's not like an ideology. It's more of just like an opportunity thing.
I'll be okay. Whatever. No, like, you're not memorable. Nobody cares. They're not even going to mention you in the next movie. What a waste. What a waste of Ray Winstone, who at the time was hot, dude. I mean, he had just been in The Departed. Like, we're at peak Ray Winstone as like a character actor that people are taking notice of. And then it's like, put him in Indiana Jones. Everybody's excited, and then it's Jonesy.
You could have removed him from the movie, honestly, and it wouldn't have changed anything. Yeah.
Or why not why not have that character be Sala? Why not have it be somebody who's already in the... Why not have it be Jonathan Key Kwan? I don't understand. Like, it's why in a universe where you've introduced characters that could now be grown up or older, why invent new characters that you're not going to do anything with, right?
Yeah, I agree. And like, go back to the John Hurt. So he's probably, his performance is fine for being like essentially a crazy guy, but it just wasn't like his thing is so convoluted. So because he's introduced and supposed to like find this crystal skull that has these properties that the Russians are looking for, they lose him but capture him, but then also capture Marion. It's confusing why they capture her, but then that's what gets Mutt. That's really just to get Mutt introduced into the story, right?
Because there was no easier way to do that.
Yeah. There are some like, it's weird. Like in the context of the movie, I wasn't super confused, but like if you kind of go back and play it through, you're like, yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Like, why the Russians captured Marion Ravenwood makes zero sense.
When they already had John Hurt. And
again, like, you have Mutt, so why do you need Marion?
Yeah.
If you have Marion, why do you need Mutt?
Yeah. And
it's weird. They're just like, they were just like, let's have all these characters in the jungle together.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we going to do with them? Well, we're not going to do anything because there's a fake out where Oxley goes and gets them recaptured, and they get away. Oh, yeah. It's like this movie keeps stopping itself from starting. Do you know what I mean? It like stops and starts over and over again. I don't understand why. Because the stuff at Oriana's Tomb, pretty entertaining. The kind of old school Indiana Jones stuff's pretty entertaining.
I agree, and I think that while we've been kind of shitting on it, I actually think I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I remembered. Like I watched it and I was like, actually. It's pretty entertaining. It's not that so far removed from the other ones. Like it's probably the worst, but I was like, it fits in the milieu quite well. There's some convoluted plot things, some good action sequences. The CG is a little hit or miss at spots. Like some parts, it's really, really obvious, heavy CG. Like especially with the driving, with a lot of the cars in the jungle.
I thought you were going to talk about all the body doubles that they used for Harrison Ford. Lots of low shots. Lots of shots from behind or shots where his face is obscured. A lot of the stuff at the beginning of the movie is a lot of body doubles. It's it's fine. Yeah. Like
that's fine because he's old.
And they're making another one right now. Like
he's 80 years old.
I know. To me, it's like, guys, like if Harrison Ford is in the shape to do it, and they're back in a Brinks truck full of $1 million up to his house, like the Mouse is, which we know they are. Cool.
It can't be for the money. Like, what does he need the money for? I don't get it.
But here's the problem.
I think he likes it.
I don't know. It's been, 14 years since the last movie came out, and he's supposed to have aged probably 8 years, so they're trying to de-age him 8 years less than he actually is. And in this movie, I forget, so how old was Harrison Ford in 2008? Was he the same age as his character?
Close. So he was like 60. So
yeah, he must
the
have
last
been,
movie he did,
if he's
he was like 65-ish.
Yeah.
He was like
so,
65-ish.
Okay, so they're not going to age him 15 years, which is what they should do. But they're going to ask us.
Yeah, they won't be like 80-year-old. They won't.
But they're
going
to ask us to expect that an 80-year-old man is doing the stuff that. And it's like, look, we know what this movie is going to be. The new movie is going to be them handing the reins off to somebody else. Good.
You think so?
Good.
But it won't be Mutt.
But who cares? That ship has sailed. Like, the problem with Crystal Skull is it hasn't had its Revenge of the Sith moment. If I told you 5 years ago Hayden Christensen was brought back into the Disney Star Wars fold, you would have told me I was lying.
Yeah, but also, to be fair, I think Shia LaBeouf has some off-the-screen stuff that's going on that I think probably influenced them to say, like, let's not even go down that route. You know what I mean? They made the decision for them.
I mean, the reason that they probably don't want to go down that route is just the fact of the matter that the pushback on this movie when it came out was this movie's not good. People didn't like it. I mean, it was mixed. Yeah. You know,
reviews.
I was talking with the projection booth's Mike White, and he told me, he was like, look, the movie was better than any of the scripts that I read before the movie came out, which, I mean, look, that movie, here's the problem, right? The movie had been in development essentially since Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out, which was, remind everyone, 1989. And the other movie came out in 2008. That is 19 years. How good could this movie really be? That's my question. I mean, it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? Ghostbusters Afterlife is a better movie than it has any right to be. But at the same time, it largely nostalgia baits in the third act and kind of falls apart because it has to tailor itself to a group of people that have wanted to see a certain thing for forever. Fine. Indiana Jones 4 didn't have that problem. There wasn't like one thing we all had to see in Indiana Jones 4. I think, for you, what was
besides Harrison Ford?
Right. What was Indiana Jones 4 missing, in your opinion? If it was missing something that the other ones had, what was this one missing?
I don't think it was...
Right? I don't think it's inherently missing anything.
No, I don't think it was missing anything. And like I said, like it actually held up better than I remembered.
Right,
like,
I agree.
I watched it and I was like, this actually is a pretty solid movie. Like, there's some stupid things. Like, almost every issue with the movie is script.
Yeah, it's not really performance. Like, even Cate Blanchett is not as bland, over the top as I remember her being.
No, not as a bland villain, but once again, has nothing to do with her. Like, we haven't talked about her, not because she's just in the movie. She propels it as like an opposing force, a reason for them to be in a rush to basically find this temple and this crystal skull and do something with it. But like, she's not memorable other than she has like an insane accent.
Right. Oh my God. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if you talk about Raiders, right? Paul Freeman as Belloc is almost so good that you could justify cheering for him as the good guy. Like, he's not really the good guy, but he's like an anti-hero in a lot of ways.
He gives like, the Nazis are kind of whatever, but he gives like a face, and he's a little bit more like interesting. Like, we just kind of see him as like a reverse Jones without knowing a lot about him,
but not really that much.
At least makes him kind of interesting,
right? But not much of that in reverse, just like a shade darker, right? You know.
Yeah, like what he's actually Ray Winstone's character is kind of similar. It's like, what if I put like kind of profit or my own self gain above ideology?
Almost say it's unfair to compare Paul Freeman and Ray Winstone because.
but
I get what you're getting at, but yeah,
the lens. Like their intrinsic motivation is not that dissimilar.
Right, that's fair. I agree. And then in Temple of Doom, Amrish Puri is beyond memorable.
He's good.
He's beyond memorable as Mola Ram.
He's good.
What do people remember from Temple of Doom? The monkey brains and Kali Ma. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then
even though he's not like super fleshed out,
right.
He's still like super memorable.
Right. And then Last Crusade. You know, I think they do enough. They kind of split the villain roles across three characters with Julian Glover, and then I guess Alison Doodie's kind of a villain, and then Michael Byrne plays the Nazi. I think that movie's villain...
Schneider's definitely the most interesting one.
Right. I think Julian Glover is good enough. He doesn't have to do much, but of all the villains, yeah, she's not the worst. I mean, she's probably the worst, but she's not terrible.
You talking about Cate Blanchett?
Yeah, she's not terrible. She's just kind of boring.
She's the most uninteresting of Well, I would say the guy from The Last Crusade is probably worse than her, but like you said, there's enough like villainy, like other characters to split it up with, where like the love interest that betrays, Indiana, like that's pretty much way more interesting than anything that's going on in Crystal Skull. Yeah, she's just kind of uninteresting and just there to propel the story forward.
And I like Igor Zhizhakin as the kind of the heavy, who's kind of her second in command. I like the look of him. I think he has a good look.
He doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything. He's just there. He fills the Pat Roach role of the big Nazi or big thuggy to beat Indiana Jones's ass. I like that they were like, well, instead of him just being a one-off character, let's have him be like a kind of he's there throughout. But I mean, obviously, the big pieces of the film that are missing are Sean Connery does not come back, which at the time Sean Connery was still alive. He passed away last year, but he was retired, and his quote at the time was that retirement was too enjoyable.
He hasn't. The last movie he did was Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think.
It was actually Sir Billy, the movie where he plays a skateboarding dentist. It's a CGI movie. The skateboarding veterinarian, excuse me.
Okay.
CGI.
Okay.
It's insane. I don't think there was a point in having him show up in this movie, but
it would have just more of a nostalgia fest. I mean, if you had him instead of like Ray Winstone or something, but he would have been almost 80 years old at that point.
So as old as Harrison Ford is now. And John Rhys Davies isn't in the movie either as Sala. And those are kind of the two big characters. I mean, did Short Round come back? No. Did Willie come back? No. But
and there was Marcus, but he actually died in real life.
He was dead. Right. Denholm Elliott was dead. Yeah. Though I didn't understand the point of having them crash into a statue of him. That was a little.
It was just to like give him a little bit of like oh, here's him.
It's weird. Tribute to Jim him. Broadbent. Let's destroy him. All right.
Yeah, and Jim Broadbent was like his sort of. I mean, Jim Broadbent, great actor, was his replacement basically in the movie.
Jim Broadbent effectively given nothing to do.
Nothing. Just be like, hey, here's a super talented actor who is
here
marginally replacing this other actor.
Yeah,
he's here.
Yeah. I think honestly, again, I think my biggest problem with this movie is just Harrison Ford is not really playing Indiana Jones the way I think most people anticipated his character would be. He's just kind of playing Harrison Ford, and he's kind of crotchety, and it's just, I don't know. It's very disinterested, and I hope to God that's not the next movie.
I kind of disagree. I think it makes sense in the context of he's older and stuff. Like, I didn't mind I thought his performance was fine. I actually think I maybe even enjoyed it. For me, it's just almost, it's an overall enjoyable movie that has some storytelling and villain issues. And that's where I would put the criticism. I guess I can understand where you're coming from, saying like, I expect to be a certain way, but I don't think he's so far removed from the other Indiana Jones other than he's just a little grumpier.
Well,
but he's also 20 years older.
Yeah, but he's just not likable. He's not a likable character. And this movie is called Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, not Montgomery Johnson and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This is you know what I mean? That's the problem here.
But what do you mean he wasn't likable?
It's an Indiana Jones movie. At least make the lead charismatic and likable. Don't make me go, man, I really don't like Indiana Jones in this Indiana Jones movie because he's written like a crotchety bastard. Why would it, like, Indiana Jones is still running around the world doing all this stuff by choice. His students could still and should still find him to be attractive. They wanted to fuck his brains out in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean...
Didn't we all?
But again, he's still a good-looking guy in 2008. He's still a good-looking guy now. And I don't understand why this dramatic shift in character. Because at the end of Last Crusade, we're led to believe that he has become more whole as a character and a human because a part of him that was missing is not missing anymore. And now
his relationship with his dad.
His relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
And now he's just a miserable sack of shit. And I don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense.
There is a line about one of the things actually I liked but also didn't like. I liked his relationship with Marion, but I also feel like they got back together like really fast.
Yes.
Like I enjoyed it once it happened, but I also was like, man, that's very rapid from like I kind of hate you and like I haven't seen you in
also,
all these years.
Why would she get back together with him? Because he goes, none of those women were you.
Were you? Yeah. that kind of doesn't. And then they immediately start calling each other like baby and stuff. And I'm like, you haven't seen them for like this. What? How old's Mutt? And that took 25 years, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
What?
And,
What?
and,
like, come on! Don't try to force this character to be something he's not. And I guarantee you, I would place a money wager the character of Indiana Jones in the new movie is going to be like the character in the first 3 movies.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you. It's going to be a nostalgia trip. There's going to be references to all kinds of stuff. But, like, he's going to be... It might not be a good movie, but I wager that Indiana Jones will feel like Indiana Jones in it.
I think there's an implication of because of the lack of the love in his life and, like, basically, like, she was his lost one.
Don't give the movie too much credit. You are giving the movie too much credit that it does not deserve.
So, I guess, so yeah, where do we fall on this movie? It sounds like we both think, on retrospect, it's actually not as nearly as bad as
How
the
do you feel
reputation.
about David Koepp's other movies? Like, how do you feel about Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, Spider-Man? He wrote those other movies. That's what's wild here.
The first, like, he wrote the first Spider-Man.
Yes.
I don't know. Love Mission Impossible, the first Spider-Man, and what was the other one you said?
He wrote the script for Spider-Man.
Jurassic Park. Yeah, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Yeah, he co-wrote it. I know it was co-written with Michael Crichton, but it's weird. David Koepp is not the person who, when you say, like, he's writing an Indiana Jones movie, nobody at the time was like, yeah, I don't like that. Like,
to be fair, these movies go through so many notes and edits, and, like, we don't really know who had the final say.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, while I think there's what you're saying is true. Like, on these things, it's hard to really know who was like, this John Hurt thing, like, you know, and
oh my god, yeah, John Hurt's character. I don't even.
I get why they introduced Mutt, because I think there was probably a point in time where they were like, all right, we're gonna like hand these movies off to Shia LaBeouf and make him the next Indiana Jones.
Okay, so, like, let me ask you: do you actually think that was an intention at some point?
I think it was. Let's introduce this character to kind of humanize Indiana Jones and like leave the door open.
Humanize Indiana Jones.
As
if they hadn't spent the last 3 movies, as if they didn't spend essentially an entire movie doing that. The Last Crusade was that entire movie. Yeah. I mean, we have origin story movies exist because of The Last Crusade.
My guess is probably the next one they weren't planning on just doing like a Mutt movie, but probably like, another one with like him completely like in the life.
Right, yeah.
I'm talking on my ass, but this is how my reason.
I mean, look, they didn't sign Shia LaBeouf to a 1-movie contract for an Indiana Jones movie. No, that's unrealistic to think about even to begin with.
No. But I think they like wanted to have the optionality. So my guess is probably if Crystal Skull, it did financially well, but I don't know, for whatever reason, they didn't do an immediate sequel. If they had done one like 3-4 years later, probably would have been him and Indy kind of doing their thing, and then maybe that one would have been like the handoff if it went well to him doing his own thing. But obviously, that's not the case anymore.
Wow.
But that's how I interpreted the movie, because the movie even ends with him about to put on the hat, right? And Indy takes it as I'm not just yet ready to hand it off.
And I think the next movie will have that handoff actually occurring.
But it won't be to his son; it'll be to some other character.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the question I posed to you. Does the person who takes up Indiana Jones' mantle have to be Indiana Jones' child?
No. I mean, it would have made sense, but I don't think it has to be. Although now I'm interested to see how they introduce it, because like, even though we said the whole Mutt thing was kind of convoluted, like you're like, okay, I get it, because Marion was an established character,
right? Yeah,
and
I understand
she had the most chemistry with him.
Like, of all the things in Crystal Skull that make the most sense, Indiana Jones and Marion having a son makes the most sense. Honestly, the thing that makes some of the things that make the least sense is how did Indiana Jones is just painted broadly as a moron. Because he's like, I didn't know I had a kid. Like, Marion Williams, like, Marion, like, if you like, he says Marion.
Yeah, that was.
And you don't ask like.
He's like, I don't know any.
I know a lot of Marions. Do you know any?
I know a lot of Marions.
Yeah, like I understand why he's in the movie 100%. I don't even think Shia LaBeouf is miscast. They cast him because he looks like Harrison Ford.
He does.
He has the same kind of T profile. Him and Harrison Ford have a very similar kind of eyes and nose. But look, end of the day, the issue with this movie for me boils down to Indiana Jones being mischaracterized as this kind of strange... It's a character wearing an Indiana Jones suit. lack of supporting characters of value. Almost everybody in this movie who's a supporting character is given nothing to do.
Pretty much Mutt is the only one that does anything of consequence. I mean, you could argue Ray Winstone does like negative things, but doesn't really add to the movie.
And then overall, you have this opportunity to make an Indiana Jones movie, and this is the best you can come up with over 20 plus years of 20 years of workshopping, like you said, workshopping scripts over and over again. Like I mentioned, Mike of the projection booth talking about how many times he read other scripts, and this is the best one. You can go and read a filing cabinet full, I'm sure, of the scripts for Indiana Jones 4. Just like you could go read a filing cabinet full of the scripts for Ghostbusters 3 that were hanging around the back lot in Los Angeles for 20 plus years. The saddest thing is that this is what we got. And it took them 20 years to put this on the screen. Like, guys, you didn't... And then... Like, anything? Nothing better than this in 20 years? Come on. I find that hard to believe.
What did you... Let's go back to the actual story. How did you feel about that? So I didn't mind that it was aliens. Like, I thought that was fine. But the actual, like, conclusion itself was a little weird. I mean, they're all kind of a little... They're all... I guess all the Indiana Jones movies are, like, with the mystical objects are a little weird. Like, they just kind of happen. Like
the arc makes sense. They essentially set up the arc, and they set up the arc at the beginning of the movie.
They did set it up.
The Shankara stones, indeterminate kind of power, right? You know.
For some reason, they said there was 5, but there's only 3 in the movie. Like they could have just said whatever.
And then they heat up and they're hot.
Yeah,
but maybe not. Who knows? And then the
Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail makes perfect sense. Drink out of the wrong one.
Holy Grail
you die.
Yeah.
But then you can't pass the seal with it. But can you pass the seal with it, but nothing happens if you do? Or does the
That's
temple
how I interpreted
prevent
it.
you? Who knows?
Yeah.
And then in this movie, it's like there's 13. So all 13 of these make up one creature.
Yeah, it was confusing. I was like, were there 13? Because they said it was like a hive mind, right?
Well, that's what she says. She's like, this is a hive mind, but it's like, does she know that?
So is it like were there 13 of them, and then they died and they stayed here? But they like shared one collective consciousness, but like if you brought them back, then they kind of existed as one creature.
Right.
I don't know.
The rules are not. And then again, in the first 3 movies, we understand the rules more or less. Like
you understand what's happening.
Yeah, I don't have to understand everything about how the arc works or where did I'm not asking at the end of Raiders like where did the Nazis' bodies go? Like I don't care. But yeah, in this movie, I don't even understand what is the basic conceit of how the aliens work, because there's a spaceship in a temple, right?
Yeah, and it's been sitting there. A working spaceship. It's been sitting there. Yeah, we don't know why or like why even the skull like the Grail was there the whole time. The Ark was there the whole time, and then like the Kali Ma stuff, they were trying to like bring the power back.
It's very obvious how and why the things get where they are getting and where they're trying to go with them. Holy Grail,
we don't know why the skull was
Hitler.
missing.
Ark, they're trying to get it to Hitler. Shankara stones, using them to take over the world.
Yeah, or at least prosperity for themselves, whatever.
Right.
But this one, it's like, how did the thing go missing? Fine, it's missing, but why does it activate this thing? And then the thing activates, like, does it kill everyone? Do they just get abducted by these aliens? Like, it's very unclear what's happening. Cate, I can't remember her name. Cate Blanchett's character is essentially just like, she's either disintegrated or absorbed, or I don't know.
She's given so much knowledge that her brain overloads, I guess.
It's almost like they want to be so ambiguous that if they ever wanted to bring them back, they could. Like the Ray Winstone. I think that's what I honestly think that's what they were doing. They were saying, hey, we want to have our cake and eat it too. Maybe these characters are dead. Like we could do the thing where we just never see them again. They're dead or off-world. Doesn't really matter. Or because we don't like. We see them sort of go into the ship, and Ray Winstone's like, "Oh, I'll be fine." Like, if we want to at some point in the future, if this movie's a huge hit, bring them back. We can and just say, "Oh, I escaped" or whatever.
They were. I think that's what. Can you imagine them thinking that Irina Spalko was going to be such a popular character? Oh my God, she's just like Captain Phasma.
I mean, do you think I'm wrong? Like,
I know. Honestly, I think you're probably right. I think there were a lot of things in this movie. There are things. I mean, if you consider what they do at the end, where Harrison Ford takes the hat away from Mutt as them kind of hedging their bets, it could be seen as a similar bet hedging. Yeah. The Mutt stuff, I'm almost confident like that was the direction they wanted to take the franchise in. Indy,
this stuff, I think they just
2 years after this one. You mean?
Yeah. Both of them, and then Indy's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. And then, well, she officially is now way too old for this shit.
Well, and what's crazy is they're filming a 5th movie, and there's got to be a 6th movie. You don't just have 5 movies.
So, hey, well, not necessarily, but hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Was there a point in time when they were talking about making Chris Pratt the next Indiana Jones?
Oh my God! Totally, do you remember that crack? Too?
Okay.
Well, it was like a groundswell, but like I'm so glad that that's not the case anymore because Chris Pratt is not a good person. He is not the kind of person. I mean, look, I don't know how good of a person Harrison Ford is, but I think my opinion on Chris Pratt has changed in the last couple years of his own doing. I don't think Chris Pratt,
honestly, is that much worse than most people in Hollywood, but I don't want to get to a thing about Chris Pratt. My point is,
but yes, he was, and I'm glad that
wasn't he?
Yeah, they were like, well, it was like he's the funny, charismatic lead of other movies, so maybe he could work as Indiana Jones.
No, I get it. I guess my question is, was he supposed to be introduced as just like a new character who like Indy hands or were they just going to recast him in it? Do you remember what that was about?
I don't remember. I think it was just people talking about like, oh, maybe we should just do like reboot Indiana Jones with a younger actor.
Yeah, because I guess the reason I'm asking is like, if the character he was supposed to play was a new character, do you think they're just going to repurpose the Chris Pratt character for the new movie? If they're going to do this handoff. That's
what I wanted to ask you. The new movie has been rather under wraps, right? It's been we're in the secrecy times of Hollywood now, right? Like we kind of were then. I mean, again, audience listener, to remind you of 2008, this movie came out before Iron Man did. So this is like one of the last big blockbusters before we have kind of the beginning of kind of the modern Hollywood era of blockbusters. So this movie is like, there's a lot of secrecy now. Obviously, it's being directed by James Mangold, which is good, I think.
Yeah, he's an amazing director.
I am one of those people, and don't jump all over me for this. I think Logan is just okay. It's fine.
I loved it, but we got 3:10 to Yuma.
I was going to say, like, there are better movies to point at for James Mangold. Logan is just okay. Like, whatever. People like that movie. You want to call it a Western, it's a Western, whatever. 3:10 to Yuma is a better movie if you're looking at James Mangold directed Westerns that are actually fucking Westerns.
Did he do Ford versus Ferrari?
Yeah, he did. That movie was okay.
Yeah, that was really good. I like that. The point is, like, James Mangold's definitely a good director.
Yeah, so was Ryan Johnson. And that's the problem here. Like like we've mentioned now, as we have gotten much older in our old age.
We need a good script.
You need a good script. That's what this boils down to. Because look, James Mangold, good director. Harrison Ford, he's a non-negotiable. Who else is in this movie? Oh, I don't know. Mads fucking Mikkelsen is in this movie.
Oh. Are they bringing Marion back? I mean, she has to be in it, right?
I mean, Karen Allen has said, "How do you make a movie without Marion?" Because Indiana Jones,
especially when they got married.
You know what? How they make a movie without Marion? They've already done it twice. Marion is in less Indiana Jones movies than she is in them because she's not in Temple and she's not in Last Crusade. She doesn't have to be part of the movie. I don't give a shit about Indy's home life. Like, I'm sorry. I don't keep.
We know Mutt's not in it.
Right. Shia LaBeouf's definitely not in it. Not in it. The question is, like, do they...
Is Sala in it? In the new one?
He wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know if this is the last Indiana Jones movie that they're doing with Harrison Ford or the second to last one.
There's no way he's doing...
I mean, I think John Rice...
This has to be the last one. This has to be the last one Harrison Ford does. He'd be like...
We said that about the last one. We said that about the last one.
But at least he's done like 2 Star Wars movies since then, so you're like, okay, like,
he's done technically
it's less surprising.
3 Star Wars movies. Or I guess 2. Well, you're right, 2.
Because he's barely in...
He's technically done 1.
1, but I mean, it was very surprising he was in Rise of Skywalker.
Was it? Was it, though?
It wasn't so surprising narratively, it was surprising that he would agree to... I was like, this dude's definitely done with these movies.
Beep, Mr. Ford, we've got this brink truck full of money. Beep, beep, beep. Where do you want us to place it? Oh, next to the other pile of money? Beep, beep, beep. Okay. Wait, we got Kevin Feige on the line. He wants you to be in a Marvel movie just for 5 minutes, so then you can cash that Marvel movie money? Okay, beep. Got another brink truck here. I mean, I don't know why
he's
no, he hasn't. But my point is like.
I mean, he did Blade Runner. I mean, Blade Runner was actually amazing, and he played a pretty big role. Do you not like Blade Runner 2049?
I don't think that the idea of whether or not Deckard is a replicant is anything we should be addressing in a Blade Runner sequel. That's not when I walked away from the first Blade Runner, the question that I had wasn't whether or not Deckard was a replicant, and that's all anyone can focus on anymore. And if that's all you focus on in those movies, you're missing the entire point of that fucking movie. It's not about whether or not Deckard is a replicant. Like, it's just not. And the fact that the sequel just says, well, let's just keep asking that question for 3 hours is a little much. It's not a bad movie to look at. I'm not going to disagree with you there.
It looks amazing.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. And I don't think that Harrison Ford is bad in it. But I think, what is the point of Deckard being a replicant as the plot, the driving plot behind your movie? I don't care. Because what does it matter if he is or isn't at this point?
But to be fair, with like the 20 different cuts or whatever they had a Blade Runner, like that was like the main thing that kept changing, right?
Well,
is he not? So to be fair, like that's the question.
To be fair, Ridley Scott has been riding the wave of that, and it's because Ridley Scott, every 5 years, someone goes, "Hey, Ridley, give us another answer," and he's like, "Well, I think." It's like, go make another shitty alien movie, please.
So I guess my point with that is, when you have the creator himself, like, kind of saying it, then, like, maybe...
But he's not the creator. He's not the creator.
Well,
he's not the creator. He didn't even write the script.
I know, okay.
He's a director. Don't give Ridley Scott credit where credit is not due. Ridley Scott didn't write the script for Alien. That was Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett, and he definitely didn't write the script for Blade Runner. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you who wrote it. Someone's going to roast me in the comments.
Well, it's based on Philip K. Dick.
Right, but it's not Ridley Scott.
Yeah. I know, but you know what I mean. Like,
James Mangold is credited on the new Indiana Jones script.
For writing it?
Uh-huh.
So maybe it will. I think James Mangold can write. I don't know. Has he written the scripts of the other movies he's directed?
No, but he has worked with the guys that he's working with on this... The Butterworth brothers, I guess. They've worked on some things with James Mangold together.
Did James Mangold write Logan?
Wouldn't be a selling point for me if he did.
He did write Logan.
But it's, again,
right,
Logan is just... Logan is based on the tradition of Westerns that came out in the 60s and 70s. It's just a Western with Wolverine, which is not... I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, this is... truly inspired storytelling, because at the end of Logan, it becomes a fucking CGI fuckfest, just like every other superhero movie. So,
I didn't realize he wrote Walk the Line too.
Yeah, James Mangold. James Mangold is, again, he's had an interesting career. I hope that this is not like the weird, the odd man out movie of his career, where everyone's like, oh, he made all these great movies. But that Indiana Jones 5 movie, no, that's just, we don't talk about that. It's like David Fincher, right? He doesn't talk about Alien 3. He outright refuses. And like,
was that his first movie?
Yeah, it was.
Although, without Alien 3, though, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Alien 3 is not terrible.
I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through. My point is, without him doing that, that launched his career.
Of course. And there is,
Alien 3 is not something he did like in media res. Right, that was the first movie.
And again, you also have to look at it as the fact that movies even get made to begin with is in and of itself surprising and impressive, because it takes a lot to get a movie completed. So, look, I have high hopes for a fifth Indiana Jones movie, but I have seen a modern day Indiana Jones movie twice in one day, the day it came out, so many years ago. And I was disappointed, so my expectations are low. If this is, you know what I will say, if this is the next Indiana Jones movie to watch after this one, you're gonna have pretty low expectations going into it. I don't know how you couldn't, going from 4.
Yeah, but I would say, like, if 5 is as good as 4, I would be content.
5, I would hope it's at least as good as 4, but my expectations are. Somebody new is in the chair. Steven Spielberg's not anywhere near written.
He's producing.
He's not writing. Lucas isn't writing. They're not. I mean, maybe they asked him, like, hey, what do you guys think? I mean, like, Spielberg's a producer, so they're going to ask him. But, like, they're not intrinsically, their hands aren't in the pie. And you know what? The alien shit came from Lucas and Spielberg. That's where that came from. That was them. That was all them. Lucas had been opining a fucking Indiana Jones alien movie since the third one came out. There's interviews where that's talked about ad nauseum. So let's just chalk it up to it's Lucas's fault.
Well, the issue is,
Let's just blame it on George Lucas, and he's got a target permanently painted on his forehead, right? Jeez.
Yeah, and I think it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but I still don't think the issue is aliens in and of itself.
No.
It's the execution of the alien plot and the fact that I said it doesn't really make sense in the end.
Realistically, what they could have done is that you could have seen this as this is an opening salvo in a new trilogy of Indiana Jones movies tackling things from the late 50s, early 60s. So aliens, Bermuda Triangle, I don't know, what would have another thing been, like Bigfoot or something?
Like going from maybe like more of like the religious, more of like religious artifacts to like more supernatural,
right? Or
like
paranormal stuff. Like who knows, right? It could have if the next movie had come out 2 to 3 years after, it had been in the same vein as Aliens in the 50s and 60s, as opposed to the kind of stuff he was tackling before. I don't think anybody would have thought anything about it. But you know what the other problem is? It has been 14 years since that last movie came out. Like every year that they didn't make something else, it magnifies how obvious it is that this might be the last Indiana Jones thing we get. Right. And I think again, like you mentioned, Harrison Ford is 79. Every year he's getting older. And at some point, we're kind of there. We're essentially knocking on the door. At some point, he's not going to be believable anymore. And that's kind of where we are now. I mean, we haven't seen the newest movie, but it may be touch and go in that movie. I don't know. He's 80. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things where I think there was an expectation of a certain thing when this movie came out, and it didn't hit that for a lot of people. And I think we both touched on maybe that was a little bit unfair because it's actually a competently made movie that's generally entertaining. And it seems like a lot of that was put on like ideas or characters rather than execution. So like people are like, oh, it's because of Mutt and the stupid swinging of the vines, or it's because of, you know,
but again, like throwing the entire movie out because of that one scene is like, you have missed the point here. It's like what I was saying about Deckard in Blade Runner. Like, if you walked away from Indiana Jones 4 going, I hated that movie because Shia LaBeouf swang on vines with monkeys, it's like, there are way worse things in this movie. Actually, things that are much more egregiously bad than Shia LaBeouf and CGI monkeys. Like,
well, it's because we think about it, and that was bad, but you just assume, oh, that's all he was doing was stupid shit. Like, actually, no, he's like driving the plot forward.
And most of the time, he's not actually doing anything, frankly.
He's
just kind of standing around most of the time, like aping, or just kind of like looking like. Most of the time in this movie, Shia LaBeouf's not doing anything. Like realistically, again,
he has the motorcycle sequence. Yeah, but the motorcycle sequence early on.
Yeah, but
and then he has the cool fight in the jungle.
But that's it. He's like, he is not given.
He's along for the ride.
Yeah, he's not given as much to do it as even Willie is. I mean, Indiana Jones and Willie in Temple of Doom have like several scenes where they kind of sit and talk and get to know one another. And you know what? Honestly, that scene in the diner in the fourth movie between Harrison Ford and Shia LaBeouf is not bad.
No, yeah, that's
like the only scene in the entire goddamn movie. They don't slow. To get a moment between characters, right? Because that's the thing about these movies, right? Like the scenes that I remember in Last Crusade are these kind of like, obviously they're the action moments, but also these like conversations between characters about what's going on. Like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, when you have Sala and Indy talking on the rooftops overlooking Cairo. Or in Indiana Jones 3, where Harrison Ford and Sean Connery are on the dirigible together. Like those scenes matter in movies like this, where you have the action falls away and you have two characters just talking back and forth. There's none of that in this movie. None of it. There's not even a quiet sequence. There's one at the beginning and it's gone within 2 minutes.
Once they hit the jungle, like once they're kind of captured in the jungle, it's just...
There's no stopping. It's constant.
Yeah, it's constant, which on like one hand, it is a little much.
It's a lot much. I mean, even think about the structure of the other movies. There's a moment of the audience is able to catch their breath. In Crystal Skull, there's none of that. They don't get that at all.
Temple of Doom is the closest, but you do have like a 20-minute sequence beforehand, or it's like pretty when they get to the actual area, it kind of slows down for the dinner scene, and then it's just like nonstop for the next basically hour.
Yeah, but in this movie, it's like nonstop for like almost the entire movie. Like you have like one scene between you have one scene between Harrison Ford and Shia LaBeouf. One. Like
where they're just like, I mean, they're together in other scenes, but that's one of them.
I guess you
like
do have the
talking.
scene where they're in the back of the van as they have been captured again. But like that scene's also played more for laughs because it's like, oh, you just found out I was your dad. Isn't this scene weird? Like, I don't know.
I like that scene actually.
I wanted to like this movie. I think we all did. Like you mentioned, we all had expectations going into it. And again, it is unfair that at the time this movie was bogged down in what we all wanted it to be. And yeah, like you said, coming back to it now, 14 years later, it's not that bad. It's not, I mean, in the last 14 years, I have seen franchises that I love more than Indiana Jones have worse things happen to them. Like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, which were just like, we're just going to erase all those other Star Trek movies and things that you like. Or Star Wars, which, I mean, again, Star Wars and Indiana Jones were kind of hand and foot back when I was a kid. Star Wars, I mean, boy, I would contend that okay, question. Those 3 sequel movies for Star Wars or Crystal Skull, are those worse than this movie?
Well, it's almost unfair because you have like 3 movies. Like, so I would say like the Star Wars movies posit maybe a more interesting story and whatnot.
In parts.
In parts. So, but that, I think it hurts the rest of the franchise more than this one hurts the other Indiana Jones movies. So this was like, it's fine. It's, it's cool.
I think the real problem is there aren't enough Indiana Jones movies. Like, there have been 4. It's not like there are 10. If there were 10 Indiana Jones movies, someone would be like, this is my favorite one. And you'd be like, really?
Yeah.
But like, there's 6, there's, however many more movies. It's the fact that there were only 4, now 5.
Yeah.
That makes the bad ones stand out.
And there was such a big gap, and the first 3 are like held in such high regard.
The first 3 are
but
good.
I do think, they're good. But I do think nostalgia tints those because, like I said, if you watch them all back to back to back, like in a short amount of time, you're like, Crystal Skull, I still don't think is that far removed from what the first 3 are trying to do. It's just not as tightly written of a narrative, I think is the biggest problem. And they are trying to maybe cater a little bit too much to nostalgia instead of execuation.
You think they catered too much to nostalgia in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I mean, I saw glints. I saw glints of it, but I didn't think it was that heavy compared to like other things now that I've seen.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I would say really heavily early on, like the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie are just nostalgia.
Well, the entire setting of the first act of the movie is the Area 51 hangar from the end of Raiders, which what's really funny is at the end of Raiders, I don't remember thinking to myself, like, I wonder if they'll ever go there again. Like,
I was, but actually,
also on top of everything else, like, you go there and you look for the aliens, like, just open up any one of these crates. Like, no, that's honest to God, like, that makes no sense. Why did they just go there and steal as many crates as they could take out? Who knows what they'll find? One of them is the Ark of the Covenant. All they got to do is open it. Get what you see. Yeah. I don't understand. Like, and you want this alien thing that's going to lead on this whole adventure, and instead you could have just been like, whatever these boxes are, we'll just start taking them because there's only like 6 people guarding this heavily guarded military fortress on top of everything else.
Not a lot on that, but yeah. So it just You're right. I would say it does play heavy nostalgia, but actually nostalgia plays probably work better in Indiana Jones than they do in other properties. It's just unclear with what the movie is trying to say by the end of it. Like the central thrust of the movie. Like, I don't know why I care about the alien stuff. I don't know why I care about John Hurt. I don't know what is even going on at the end, other than it's just like, this is a reason for Indy to do Indy stuff.
Oh, no, by the way, they're not even aliens. The lamest conceit. Yeah, he goes, they're extraterrestrials. He's like, no, they're interdimensional beings from the space between spaces. It's like, they're not even they're not even aliens.
Which that part is like, were they trying to do that? Well, that's what I'm saying. Remember how they disappeared? Like, were they trying to do something with was that supposed to be like the multiverse?
I don't know. I agree with you. And look, I'm glad Paramount sold the distribution rights to Walt Disney. I am glad.
It's impossible to stream them now.
Right. There is that. They are coming to Disney Plus this year at some point, I think.
Are they?
Well, they're releasing them on.
Streaming
Aren't they releasing them 4K this year? I think they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know if you're trying to stream these movies, you basically have to buy them.
You have to own these. Yes, you have to own these.
It's
movies
basically
to watch them.
It's Paramount Plus doesn't have it. Disney doesn't have it.
Even though they own the rights.
So yes, one of the largest franchises of all time is pretty much impossible to stream right now.
And what's wild is is it anymore?
What?
Is it like one of the largest franchises of all time? It's weird. Like who cares? Like here's the real question as we end this episode. Who cares about an Indiana Jones 5? Like who?
No, I just meant like weird. I guess box office receipts and stuff. Like if you looked at like globals and stuff for a single series, not so.
Is it though? Do you know that for a fact that it's made a ton of money? Are you just saying that?
Let's look.
Okay, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is number 93 all time worldwide. The other movies are in the top 250. Okay, so yes, it's a big series. But my question still stands: who cares about Indiana Jones 5? Who is this movie being made for? Me and you?
I'm gonna see it.
I just want to know, like, who was sitting at Disney? They were like, we need to do a 5th Indiana Jones movie.
It's ultimately like a nostalgia play, right? Like they're hoping to get all the old Indy because they know they have the last movie did make almost $1 billion. Like it's gonna,
right? Like
assuming those people come back, and then you're gonna hopefully get some new fans, and then if they do what we think they're gonna do and like hand this franchise off to someone else, then you have your built-in audience for this new franchise. I mean, because IP is everything now, right? So.
I mean, we know who they handed off to. Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah.
That is who they're handing it off to.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
She's in the movie. No,
but I don't that's like the overwhelming theory and the overwhelming information coming off the set is that she will be Indiana Jones's replacement moving forward.
I mean,
I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. Who cares?
I actually like Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Indiana Jones movies to watch. Yeah, so do I. That's why I don't care.
Yeah, and it's not even. It's more just like if you wanted to hand it off to an actress, would you choose like an action one rather than? But anyway, I guess we'll see. We'll see in the movie.
Look, she's in the movie, and
can we put Charlize Theron in it? I'd watch Indiana Jones with her in it.
I think for me, there doesn't need to be anybody handing off anything. You can just make another movie in the Indiana Jones universe. Why do you have to hand off anything? I mean, I'm not saying I need anything to be handed off or that I'm opposed to it. I just don't understand, you need the ceremonial handing of the torch actually on screen. Indiana Jones needs to hand her a torch, and there you go.
It'd be amazing.
Whatever people want, they're not going to get. They're going to be upset either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's if it's handed off to a woman, oh my God, it's terrible. If it's handed off to someone who doesn't look like me, oh my God, it's terrible. I have 4 Indiana Jones movies, 3 really good ones, and a middling one that I can watch at any point. So what do I care if they release new stuff? Plus, don't forget, fans of Indiana Jones, there's 60 hours of TV or whatever the fuck it is. It's like a whole TV show you could watch. That's canon.
And I think isn't there a new game?
Yeah, there's a new game coming out, like a Bethesda game, and there's 3 video games, and several other point-and-click adventures. So you know what? There's plenty of Indiana Jones stuff out there, just like with Star Wars. When the Star Wars sequels came out and they were terrible, my response was, that sucks, but there's plenty of other Star Wars stuff that you can watch that isn't mainline Star Wars stuff.
I think the new Indy movie will be, I guess we'll see, it could be really good just because there's obviously a lot of really, every person involved is really talented.
Yeah.
And has made a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
It could also just be bad because they just have a bad script and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's really hard to prognosticate, what it's going to look like. I don't know.
It's an Indiana Jones movie without Spielberg and Lucas involved. So it's completely uncharted territory.
And speaking of Uncharted, no, just kidding.
Speaking of Uncharted, that movie came out, and it's an Indiana Jones movie.
Not great.
I've heard it's middle of the road.
I've heard it's middle of the road to okay, which
because again, when I played Uncharted, all I could think to myself was, I can't wait for them to make a movie based on this game that's based on Indiana Jones.
On this Jones.
Because that's what whenever I tried to tell anyone like to play Uncharted, my selling point was always, it's the best Indiana Jones video game that's ever been made that is nothing, that's not based on the character. Because that's all that is. They even have like, they go to Shangri-La, or they da-da-da-da. They're dealing with semi-supernatural stuff like that. Where did they get that from? Where do you think?
Nazi zombies.
The sky? Yeah, it's Indiana Jones. And now there's an Uncharted movie, so it's fucking full circle.
Yeah.
Of course, Tom Holland, so there you go, of course.
I will say Nathan Drake in the games is probably a little bit more fleshed out than Indiana Jones in the movies.
Well, that's also because you're given 20 hours times 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That is. I mean, if I were the people in charge of Indiana Jones, what I would do is just make a fucking Disney Plus series, and like just set it in the 20s.
Recast him.
Yeah, but it's just like a prequel. Like, and you know what? Then you can have your cake and eat it too. You can recast Indiana Jones, but you're not technically passing the torch. What's wrong with that? And you know what? You don't make the fans angry. Not that the fans really matter, but the fans matter in some respects. And you also don't sully the good name of Harrison Ford by recasting one of 2 characters that he's known for. I think that's the easy middle ground, right?
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think a lot of it's going to be what happens. This next movie will, I think, inform a lot of those things.
Yeah,
but if the critical reception, the box office reception,
that's where they should go.
I could see them if the movie's like at least somewhat well received, doing something on the Disney Plus side.
Right? Why wouldn't
like
they?
Either like a side character gets a show, or like you said, doing a prequel or something. Even if they don't do movie, and they may still do movies in the handoff, but they'll do. It makes sense because it is all about the IPification. This will be the first time I think since Disney since like the Marvel merger and stuff that this will be the first indie thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it'll be a new way of approaching that. Yeah.
The Indy got sold 5 years after the Crystal Skull came out. Look, I mean, Indy was always going to Disney, right? If Disney bought Lucas, that's part of the Lucas. That's part of the Lucas package. So, because characters created by George Lucas, all that fun stuff. So, would you skip or watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like,
it's not a bad. It's actually probably like if you had to say if it's a good movie or a bad movie, it's a good movie that has some script problems. But
it's a bad Indiana Jones movie. It's a good movie. I just don't think it's a very good Indiana Jones movie. But I think if you've listened to us talk for the last hour, that's been pretty obvious that it has its problems that are almost unique to it being an Indiana Jones movie. Like this movie has problems that would be unique that other movies wouldn't have to worry about. Because
it has like a lot of its baggage, like
expectations,
and a lot of its expectations. Yeah, and I think if it came out in and of itself, like no one had seen this before, they'd be like, oh yeah, like the script's a little muddy, but like it's pretty entertaining. I'm interested to see where this series goes. Like that's what people would say if it was the first one.
Right, and they would also be like, why is Indiana Jones a 60-year-old man? If this was the first one, they would be like, couldn't you have found any other actor to cast as your lead so you don't have to have this body double half the time? No, we need geriatric Harrison Ford. God. Honest to God, like when I went into this, we kind of joked about it, and I was thinking to myself, like, should we do this? And I have not. There are some movies that I had not watched since I started doing the show again. This is one of those movies. And you know what? I am glad that we rewatched it. I'm glad that it still exists. Like you could still watch this and have a decent enough time. But yeah, I think for large portions of the narrative, it is so unnecessarily convoluted. Like convoluted to a point that I don't understand who it serves because it's not serving the plot. And if you're not serving the plot, you're making the characters go in circles, you're confusing the audience, you're failing as a screenwriter and as a storyteller. And that's kind of, I think almost all of the problems with this movie are focused narrowly onto the script and just how thrown together it honestly feels once it's been put on screen.
And I don't feel like that's generally the like popular through line of why this movie is.
Shia LaBeouf is bad. It is normally I guess what are the common as we close this out, the common problems with this movie people have had are Shia LaBeouf is bad.
Aliens.
Okay, let's just go through them and let's kind of debunk them. Shia LaBeouf is bad. I mean, the script's bad.
That he's actually probably one of the better new elements introduced to the franchise.
He's a poorly written character, and he's not that charismatic, but that's the way the script is written. He's not bringing any energy to it that's not intended, because they wouldn't have put on screen his performance if that wasn't what they intended. So yeah. I mean, he does what he's supposed to do. Right.
Adds an interesting wrinkle, and actually is generally, if anything, to your point, especially in the latter half, you kind of forget he's there.
Right. So does the screenwriters. The aliens really aren't that big of a deal, right?
It's how the aliens are introduced. It's not the fact that they are aliens.
Right.
It's just
because
that doesn't make any sense.
It would have made sense that Indiana Jones was brought in by the U.S. government to investigate Roswell. They brought him in to investigate the Ark, so he's clearly known to the U.S. government in some capacity. And if you watch the prequel stuff, they know who he is, obviously. So the aliens, I think the issue with the aliens is because we haven't seen anything else, it kind of feels like this weird foray into other things that they don't end up going anywhere further with, because we don't get any more Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah. Fridge nuke.
I guess the fridge nuke is the big thing, and we didn't even really talk about it. So I think it's only apt that we close this episode talking about the fridge nuke, which is stupid as hell, right?
Yeah, but to your point, we talked about the nostalgia part. That opening 15-20 minutes is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think.
So it does cap a pretty... It's very stupid. You have to turn off your brain hugely, but I think also watching, like I said, the previous Indiana Jones movies right before I watched this helped in the sense of I was like, okay, it is outlandish, but I'm only thinking it's outlandish because I haven't seen the other movies in so long that some pretty ridiculous things happened that are definitely not
I would say it's the most ridiculous of all the ridiculous things. So if you talk about the first movie, I'm not sure what's the thing in the first movie that's the ridiculous thing in the first movie.
Probably the snake pit is the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah. And then in Temple of Doom, it's the minecart chase.
Minecart chase, fighting
bridge.
off the dudes, almost getting his heart ripped. Yeah, the rope bridge is insane.
Yeah.
The coming out of the plane in a boat.
That's
and then
probably
from
the plane and the boat thing.
And then from that, it's then they go off a cliff, and then the boat lands into the water perfectly.
Yeah. What would it be in the third one? I guess the third one doesn't really have any
I mean, they just sneak into Nazi Germany and put on
and they meet without any Hitler, and they just randomly meet Hitler.
That's just more of logistically difficult rather than it is oh, no one could physically do that.
Yeah, I mean they've set a precedence of over the top things happening. I guess I just wonder was it because a nuke was involved that it the nuking of the fridge was just a step too far? That was the moment Indiana Jones went too far, was the nuking of the fridge.
I honestly think it's kind of one of those silly, almost stupid things, but when people didn't like the experience of the movie because of what other expectations or what it was, that was just a simple thing to say, oh, this thing is so ridiculous that ruined the movie, where it's I mean, I don't want to
remember they tried to turn that into jumping the shark. They were nuke the fridge, and it's it didn't catch.
Yeah, and I watched it and I was like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but and maybe the most ridiculous thing has happened, but ridiculous things have been in the DNA of this franchise. So
right, I mean, they have made clear references to there being a god in this universe or deities. Because God killed the Nazis,
the Ark itself,
the Shankara stones, the Holy Grail. I mean, I appreciate where people are coming from, but at the same time, I'm kind of with you where it's guys, the power of God is more believable to you than the power of nukes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what people want from Indiana Jones 5. I hope to God they're not disappointed, but if the reaction to Indiana Jones 4 was any indication...
I think if there's a tighter script and generally people can follow the stakes a bit better, the other things it'll almost be there's an area where the story's so good, people are oh yeah, and how cool was that nuke scene? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all about you'll fit the narrative to make whatever.
Yeah, I agree. And look, if my only wish for the new movie is they don't waste Mads Mikkelsen. That's it. I don't even care.
Be the villain?
I hope so.
I mean,
I hope so.
Although, if Mads Mikkelsen is Indiana Jones,
I would watch that as well. You want to hand it off to Mads Mikkelsen? I don't know where you do that, but I mean, look,
I would watch it.
I think what we're trying to say here is Mads Mikkelsen's great. There you go.
Watch Hannibal.
Watch Hannibal.
Like yesterday.
Like watch Hannibal completely. But yeah, that's I'm glad we talked about this movie, right?
Yeah.
It's not, it really is. I think it is what it is.
And can't wait for them to release the Mutt Cut.
We've seen the Mutt
Hit him
Cut.
with that.
How much more do
Hit him with the hashtag.
How much more do you need? I think we've seen plenty.
Shia LaBeouf Indiana Jones movie.
God, yeah. There's a universe where that happened, where this movie came out and was just like a box office success. So the next movie was him with the whip on the front, an all-new Jones, and it's Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, what a
amazing.
universe that would have been in, huh? God.
I know. Give it to me.
So since there's nothing for you to plug, I will plug myself, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there. This podcast, kulturecast.com, patreon.com/kulturecast. That's where you can go to hear us talk more about movies that aren't these, which are seemingly random when we talk. So yeah.
No, if it's tangentially related to Cate Blanchett, we'll discuss it in this podcast.
Wow.
That's our thing.
We could find many ways to do that. And make sure to catch us on the next episode.